The Pittsburgh Steelers are making calculated roster adjustments as the 2025 season approaches. After a headline-grabbing offseason that brought Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf to the Steel City, the team continues fine-tuning its depth chart through training camp evaluations. Pittsburgh announced the signing of defensive back Mikey Victor and tight end Kevin Fulch on Monday. The team waived tight end DJ Thomas-Jones and placed defensive back Cameron McCutcheon on waivers with an injury designation in corresponding moves. Victor brings much-needed depth to a secondary dealing with multiple injuries. The undrafted rookie from Alabama State spent time on practice squads last season, including a stint with New England. His physical style and reliable coverage skills caught attention during recent workouts and preseason action. The timing of Victor's addition proves crucial. Injuries have hit the defensive backfield hard, affecting players like Corey Trice Jr., Dante Kent, and McCutcheon. The latter had impressed in the preseason opener before a hamstring injury ended his camp. Fulch returns to Pittsburgh after a brief departure. The 24-year-old tight end from New Haven was initially signed in late July before being released in early August. His professional journey has included stops with the Panthers, Jets, Eagles, and Chiefs, though he has yet to appear in a regular season game. The move to waive Thomas-Jones removes a player who showed early promise before injuries slowed his progress. Pittsburgh faces the typical challenges of managing injuries while maintaining competitive depth. The additions of Victor and Fulch represent the type of moves teams make to ensure roster flexibility as the regular season nears. Both players will have opportunities to prove their worth in the remaining preseason games. The Pittsburgh Steelers have re-signed former Philadelphia Eagles tight end Kevin Fulch, the team announced. Rookie DJ Thomas-Jones is dealing with an injury and was waived with an injury designation on Monday. The Steelers cut Fulch last week when Thomas-Jones attempted to make a comeback on the field, but he then missed the next two practices and the team's preseason game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Fulch was most recently on the Kansas City Chiefs, who released him on June 20th. Since then, he has participated in multiple workouts, but has not signed with any teams. The Steelers will give him that chance. Fulch has also spent time with the Carolina Panthers and New York Jets over his career. He played at Division II college New Haven, where he caught 7 touchdowns during his senior campaign in 2023. He was selected for all-conference honors 3 times over his years at New Haven and was the first player from the college to even make it into an NFL camp since 2017. The Pittsburgh Steelers are hoping that Aaron Rodgers has enough left in the tank to get the team back into the playoff win column, as the team hasn't won a postseason game in a decade. Rodgers was brought in this offseason after a mixed bag of a tenure with the New York Jets last year. Recently, Rodgers was seen icing his leg at Steelers training camp, but now, head coach Mike Tomlin is confirming that it was nothing to worry about. He just got stepped on. It was nothing of any significance. He finished his work, said Tomlin, per Mike DeFabua of The Athletic on X, formerly Twitter. It's certainly good news for a 41-year-old quarterback who missed essentially the entire 2023 season after tearing his Achilles during his first series as the Jets quarterback. A huge year for the Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have spent this offseason pushing their chips to the center of the table in hopes of competing for a Super Bowl championship this year. In addition to signing Rodgers in free agency, the Steelers also brought in star wide receiver DK Metcalf from the Seattle Seahawks and added former Miami Dolphins star cornerback Jalen Ramsey to their defensive backfield, parting ways with safety Minkah Fitzpatrick in the process. The Steelers have routinely been a playoff team in the Mike Tomlin era. In fact, Pittsburgh has yet to endure a losing season in Tomlin's nearly 2 decades at the controls. However, in recent years, the Steelers have been defined by their ineptitude on the offensive side of the ball, particularly at the quarterback position. Last year, the strange duo of Justin Fields and Russell Wilson was never able to get things off the ground, and it continued a trend of poor Steelers quarterback play that has stretched back to the end of Ben Roethlisberger's career. While Rodgers is no longer the MVP Green Bay Packers version of himself, he should provide an upgrade over what Steelers fans were forced to watch last year, which could be enough to push the team back into contention considering their strong defensive unit. The Steelers will kick off their 2025 NFL season on the road against the New York Jets on September 7th. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Miami Dolphins executed a blockbuster trade this offseason. Could they pull off another shocking deal? Bleacher Report's Brent Sableski argued it's at least a possibility. Sableski named 4 top trade packages involving Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill on Monday. The BR analyst named the Steelers as one of them and proposed Pittsburgh acquire Hill for edge rusher Nick Herbig, along with 2026 4th and 7th round draft picks. Earlier this summer, the acquisition of wide receiver DK Metcalf from the Seattle Seahawks created excitement, even with the team's previous uncertainty at quarterback, wrote Sableski. Pittsburgh subsequently traded George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys, again creating a need for a legitimate number 2 target. By pairing Hill's blazing speed with Metcalf's physicality and Rodgers pulling the strings, the Steelers may have finally moved the needle and elevated their status as a legitimate contender. Could the Steelers pair Tyreek Hill with DK Metcalf? The Steelers trading for Hill would be about as shocking as when the team acquired DK Metcalf in March. When Pittsburgh traded for Metcalf, the team still had George Pickens on its roster. Pundits saw Metcalf and Pickens becoming a dangerous downfield pair of receivers for Aaron Rodgers in 2025. But in May, the Steelers sent Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys for 2026 draft capital. So, the Steelers again have a need at wideout according to most pundits. With Hill and Metcalf, the Steelers would again have 2 receivers capable of making big plays downfield. The team's top 2 receivers, though, would arguably be even more dangerous than it was supposed to be with Pickens. While Pickens has tremendous talent, Hill is a lot more seasoned. Hill led the NFL with 1,799 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns during 2023. He's made first-team All-Pro 5 times in his career. Metcalf has averaged 14.4 yards per catch in the NFL. His best statistical season was in 2020 when he posted 1,303 yards to make second-team All-Pro. With Hill on the roster, Calvin Austin III could slide into the Pittsburgh number 3 receiver role. The team also would need to count on as much production from unproven commodities such as Roman Wilson and over-the-hill veterans like Robert Woods. Is Nick Herbig a Steelers trade candidate? In other trade proposals this offseason, pundits have suggested the Steelers could include a young receiver like Austin in a trade for a veteran such as Hill. Sableski went in a different direction, including Herbig in the hypothetical deal for the 5-time first-team All-Pro. TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith are Pittsburgh's top 2 edge rushers. Both are signed through the 2027 seasons. On paper, that makes Herbig expendable, but it's not clear the Steelers feel that way. Pittsburgh used all 3 edge rushers on the field at the same time during 2024. The team could do that more often in 2025. Herbig started 5 games last season. While playing in 13 contests, he posted 5.5 sacks with 5 tackles for loss and 11 quarterback hits. The Steelers take great pride in their edge rushing depth. Generally, they want to win with defense leading the way. So, it seems unlikely they would be willing to give up Herbig. That may especially be the case with Herbig only 23 years old and inexpensive because of his rookie deal. Hill turned 31 this offseason and would give the Steelers 2 receivers, making at least $30 million on an average annual basis. Sableski is correct. The trade would be another all-in move for the Steelers. It makes sense for Pittsburgh to make all-in moves since its starting quarterback is 41 years old. But trading Herbig for Tyreek Hill might be too short-sighted of a move even for aggressive general manager Omar Khan.